Good Friday afternoon, evening, or maybe even Saturday morning where you may be. My name's Darren Pope, and in a few moments, Victor Farsick will be here. And we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox, and that releases on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, we do this live stream to talk about what's happened during the week. And this week, there's a lot of news about what's getting ready to happen next week at KubeCon. So we're going to look at some of the early announcements from that. And from there on, we'll just talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And if you're here live with us, thanks for joining us live. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. And hopefully you get some entertainment out of it, as well as a lot of information that can be helpful to you. So let's go ahead and get into the news for this week. And really what we've got to start out with is the podcast. Hey, there's Victor. Let's go ahead and bring him in. There he is. Hey, Victor. I'm waiting for him to unmute.
Hey.
There he is. Okay.
There I am.
You were just in a meeting, so I knew it was going to get close. So that's fine.
Yeah, but I'm here.
Okay.
It was the
good.
first meeting of the members of DevOps Toolkit channel. Once a month.
Yep. And we should, we'll talk more about that at the end of the show today. But also, one thing that people that are watching us live today, you might notice we look a little bit crisper. You might see a little bit more facial hair.
Did we upgrade to 1080p?
We did.
Oh, technology. And
cans. I hear the can. What do you have today?
Coke. I just grabbed one.
Okay.
Quickly.
Yeah, and I have my classical, my lime water. I'm almost out. Wait, I can't turn right. There we go, lime. Can't even do it right today. My product placement skills today are very bad. There's lime. Okay, good. So I was getting ready to talk about the podcast that came out this week. Software development versus software delivery. And we talked about reasons that sort of ticked me off about a lot of organizations will write software, but then actually never deliver it. It's very annoying.
Depends on KPIs. If your KPI is to write the lines of code, then you don't have to deliver.
Wait, but that's what AI is for, right? AI can write all my code for me, so... Or, even worse...
AI can deliver it as well.
That's correct. So this was a little bit different episode, and I'm working on next week's episode. I about have it edited. I still have a little bit longer to go on that, but it's this week was pretty good, but it was just me and Victor. The things that I like about the Victor and me is they're a lot easier to edit. Sorry to all of our guests, not all of our guests, but many of our guests. A lot of times we have people on that it's their first time, and we like to make it sound really good and pull things together, but when it's just you and me, okay, I will talk about this. We did record an episode this week that Victor was a little bit late for. And
like 45 minutes late.
a little. That's what I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But this coming week, Victor, you can't be late for this one. I know it's KubeCon coming up next week.
Yeah, I'll be there. I promise.
But we have Rosemary coming back to do a recording for us that will come out in November. And Rosemary is the author of the, what is it, Essential Infrastructure as Code, but that actually got renamed to this week's. I don't remember what the new name of the book is. But we have Rosemary coming back on to talk about something related to that. So we'll tell you when it's coming out a little bit later, but we enjoyed talking to Rosemary last time, and this one's going to be good as well. So software development versus software delivery. If you haven't listened to it yet, go listen to it. Go take how long was this one? 23 minutes. 23 minutes is a good time for you to go outside and walk. Right? That's not too long, and it's not too short, right? It's a good time, so you can listen to it.
You're allowed to run as well.
You could run. I can't, but yeah, everybody else can. I want to, last week, we gave some congratulations to Vladislav because he got a promotion to CTO at GitOps, if I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, forgive me.
I don't know. Probably.
Okay. So another little piece of announcement of somebody that we know is that Oleg Nenashev was nominated and elected as the Technical Oversight Committee Chair for CD Foundation.
Well done.
Oleg's being Oleg and taking over the world. So this is a good thing. So wanted to mention it. Anytime we have these kinds of announcements, we like to talk about them up front. So Oleg, congratulations. And there's the picture of Oleg you can see his scruffy beard. It would take me 3 years, if not 5 years, to grow a beard that big. I can't grow facial hair. It's just not something I've ever been able to do.
Talking to me, this is like probably what you see here. This is like 3 months.
Yeah. I don't know what that says about us, other than we just can't grow facial hair. It probably means something else too. So congratulations, Oleg. All right. I saw this come in last night specifically, even though it happened a couple of days ago. Tanzu Community Edition. Now, not surprising that there is a community edition for Tanzu now. What was surprising to me is, if I can find it, I can't find it now. You can run it locally.
Yep. That's really good. I mean, it's really nice to be able to try something, first day.
Yep. Without having to spin up anything real, if you will. All you need is Docker.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just I actually got it set up last night and I tore it all down because I needed hard drive space back. I had other editing to do, so I needed to get rid of the disk space. But it was pretty cool in how it worked. Tanzu is not bad.
Yeah, I still have it pending to go through the community edition.
Yep. So that came out this week out of VMware's conference. That's where it was announced, I believe. Is that right? It was announced at the conference.
Yeah.
Tanzu Community Edition. Whoops. There we go. All right. Also this week, a new public beta of GitHub Releases. This is the next shot being fired across the bow towards a number of things. A number, and that's just because it's not just one thing. It's not just bringing towards one tool. And so it talks about releases, and if you're not aware of what releases are, it gives you the ability to manage and promote releases for projects right along with the code. So the thing I like about this, in fact, I'll pull up one of the examples we're going to look at a little bit later, is I can look here and see releases. Like, this is really nice. I don't have to go to somewhere else to find my release. Just it's cool. But what they added though.
Finally.
But
I mean, you could auto-generate release notes before, but it's finally part of GitHub. No
correct. You would have to use Release Drafter, which it wasn't painful, but you could do it.
Exactly.
But now it's just there. And a new UI, but again, I can give her, as long as the UI is functional and what was already there is functional, that didn't bother me a whole lot. But to me, it's the release notes, and release notes being out of the box. What doesn't GitHub have at this moment?
I don't know. Hosting VMs, giving you free VMs. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're huge. They're massive.
Yeah. I know. This is very, very interesting. This to me is like... But here's the downside to this. Here's the downside of having it baked in, is now everybody's going to expect release notes to be legitimate.
Good. It's good to have pressure on having... I mean, I cannot express how much I hate or dislike when I go to a project, especially a project that I'm starting to get familiar with. And one of the first things I do is check how many contributors there are, how often they commit, blah, blah. If it's fine, releases. And if I cannot if I'm not happy with releases, that's a huge red flag for me for a project. So yeah, put the pressure on people to create good release notes.
I like it. Maz, good to see you, man. Hope you're having a good day. So it's just that one. Now, again, UIs, whatever. But what's getting ready to be pretty interesting is where they're getting ready to head to. And I don't know where they're heading, but with the little things that they keep adding, you can sort of start seeing that breadcrumb actually materializing in front of them instead of just behind them.
I mean, they still need to. My big ask for them is to make issues useful. I really don't think that we are there yet.
What do you think is necessary to get it to the next level of useful? What's the big thing that's causing you pain in issues?
I mean, there are GitHub projects which is kind of disconnected from GitHub issues. I mean, that integration does not work really well. Kind of like, I don't know, they should have bought Trello, I think, instead of Atlassian buying it or something like that.
Yeah, Atlassian did buy Trello. So, yeah. But anyway. So let's ask, Moz has a question. What are the differences between releases and release branch?
You want to go for it or I?
I'm going to give a partial answer. Releases is a product offered by GitHub. Would you agree with that? Whereas a release branch is just a branch that you have given a name of release to, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't tie it to GitHub. Simply releases is what your users are using, right? This is a release of my application. Doesn't matter whether it's GitHub or wherever, right? Those are the binaries. Those are the release notes. This is the list of the issues that were fixed, etc., 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 right? Essentially, what you get when you click on releases over there. Now, release branch, that's your internal process. Whether you use release branch or you don't use a release branch, that's your internal process that is completely disconnected with your users.
Okay, yeah, what he said. I've been writing a lot this morning, so I'm a little brain mush at this point.
So it would be kind of like, what's the difference between continuous delivery process, pipelines, and something delivered in production, right? Kind of like, what's delivered in production is what your users consume. What you do to deliver it to production is your stuff, right? Yeah. It's not public facing.
Yeah. So that's it. The big part of it is release notes, native. I'm using that word. They didn't. Okay. Let's move on to Nirmata. They have done something interesting with Kyverno.
Yeah, I'm curious now. I haven't seen that one.
So this, and again, you weren't around right at the beginning, but there's a lot of sort of pre-release news for next week, is what I'm seeing. Especially over the past 2 days, because a lot of them aren't going.
And because next week, especially if you're not huge, whatever your announcements are, they're going to disappear within 5 seconds.
That's true. Okay. So what this is they announced the availability of Nirmata Cloud Native Policy Management. Mm-hmm. And of course, your day job came into play when I was reading through this. And it gives, what they're doing is by automating the creation, deployment, and lifecycle management of policy-based, I'm surprised they didn't actually trademark intelligent guardrails, since it's already uppercased. You can gain insights, alerts, and reports, and enable effective collaboration across development and operations teams. Big words.
I still have no idea what it is.
Well, let's get down to that. So let's get down. So let me get through the big wall of text and try to get to some points here. So it's designed to facilitate, a continuous compliance by employing policy as code and emission controls best practices. Okay. You can reduce, basically this is policy management. the way I'm going to say it is, what was the thing that was deprecated recently? PSP.
Yeah.
Right, PSP. To me, this is the next generation of PSP with some extra M&Ms and Twinkies thrown in. Right?
No, that's all perfectly fine and great. I'm trying to figure out how is this different from Nirmata until today.
Well, here, let's look at the big picture. Open link in new tab. We have this thing called the interweb. So it is cloud native DevSecOps delivered. I can't believe those words just rolled across my lips. Okay. So it looks like it's just setting up policies and managing the policies. And again, I think this partly gets back to how Nirmata is. Forget Kyverno for just a moment. Nirmata is an opinionated way of running Kubernetes. Correct.
Now I'm getting it. This is basically we're talking about enterprise Kyverno now.
Correct.
Okay, makes sense.
Here we go. Powered by Kyverno.
Yeah.
There's the picture. So big control plane, if you will. Not a control plane, but control plane. And then all the different things. Different clusters that can live on top of wherever. You've got pipes, you got Kyverno here off to the side. You've got integrations in from wherever.
Makes perfect sense.
Because up to this point, they had not offered an enterprise Kyverno at all, right?
No, or at least, I mean, they did as far as I know, because I know that they have customers, but now it's kind of more official, let's say, right? Kind of, it's probably less based in the past. And I'm really guessing, if anybody from Nirmata is here, correct me, before it was more based on support and things like that. Now there is an enterprise product.
That's what it looks like, and that's what it feels like. Whereas now, again, we know people at both companies, both Nirmata and Styra.
Yep.
Does Styra have a full enterprise offering for OPA?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. I couldn't remember. So again, I don't want to get into a fight between the two, and there's overlap. If you think about concentric circles, there is some overlap between the two, but each one does things a little bit differently as well. So there's
exactly. Actually, from implementation perspective, it's very different. Without now judging what is better, what is worse, but very, very different from implementation perspective.
Yeah. So anyway, and we're making things up at this point because Victor hasn't looked at it for real, and I've just been reading press releases. So on the internet, nonetheless. But that's what it looks like. It looks like and feels like Enterprise Kyverno, and they've named it Cloud Native Policy Management. That's what it feels like. So, I'm sure we'll hear about it if we got it completely wrong, and that's fine. Okay, I'm going to move on to something about Flux. Their announcement, and it's actually buried down here. So this is their October release, or what happened in September. And if you've never looked at Flux, here's a nice 7-pointer understanding what Flux is, or 8 pointers. Right, so good. Wonderful. But server-side reconciliation. And this was the big announcement that they had just a couple of weeks ago as well, but it had bypassed all my radars. And I saw it yesterday, day before yesterday. And it says, server-side reconciliation will make Flux more performant, improve overall observability, and going forward will allow us to add new capabilities like being able to preview local changes to manifests without pushing them to upstream.
That's really nice.
Super cool.
That's really nice.
Preview
it's kind of like
environments.
Terraform plan type of stuff.
Well, I think it goes a step beyond that, because plan is basically a static analysis tool. Versus
comparing the actual state, the real resources with.
Well, based on the state file.
Yeah, based on the state file, yes.
Right, and again, not knowing exactly how this is going to be pulled off, but I'm assuming based on how this is written, being able to preview local changes to manifest. Now, what does preview mean? Does that mean they're going to spin up an alternate environment and treat it like a preview environment? I don't know. But this...
guessing, and I might be completely wrong, it will not do really separate environment. It will probably go to the cluster, check the state of those resources compared to what state it would create and something like that.
Yeah. And the detailed announcement was here. And the big thing that they said, though, is you have to be at least 1611, which is probably something to do with...
Reasonable.
Yeah. Well, considering that's been dead for... Well, not dead, but...
Yeah. Let's face it, if you're running Kubernetes 1.16, you're probably not upgrading your software anyway.
Yeah.
So you won't be having this Flux.
So what you're going to have is... Oh, okay. It's right here. It's not for real. So in the future, preview of local changes to manifests without pushing to upstream. So basically Flux diff -k, whatever the real one's going to be, but something in that ballpark. That's cool. I think this is a very interesting way of approaching this. That's just cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well done.
So, moving on. Okay, so a couple of interesting things here. Cluster API reaches production readiness with version 1.0. Now, what was funny to me is, hey, we're production ready. Here's the tag. V1 Beta 1.
But that's
I
the
know.
confusion that exists in Kubernetes all the time. One thing is the core system or whatever, and then all the APIs inside of it. Like Kubernetes is production ready for a while now, but then if you look at the APIs of the resources you can use in Kubernetes, hey, until recently, there were more betas than GAs.
I have a feeling there will be ongoing betas for a very long time.
No, in Kubernetes now we don't have many betas.
Oh,
I think that Ingress was one of the last ones.
That's true.
To kind of graduate to V1. And jobs, I think, were recently also graduated. So now we're fine. Now we're going towards V2 for 7 years.
Now check this out. Here's a story from Twilio, who bought SendGrid a few years ago. At Twilio, we were leveraging Cluster API in production for our SendGrid email infrastructure. I think we actually use SendGrid under the hood for some of our stuff. And then this is where I was like, you're kidding, right? We run upwards of 100 production Kubernetes clusters. Okay, that should scare you to begin with. On bare metal servers, distributed across various geographic data centers. Somebody like Twilio is running bare metal in their own data centers. Well, whether it's their data centers or colo, don't know.
Yep. But I think that they're still exception. I think that vast majority of people using Cluster API are not using it directly, but incorporated or in products that they're using, right?
Right. So and there's just a handful of different people talking about how they use Cluster API.
Because you actually, if you look at the list,
yeah,
this proves my point. All those are software vendors, or most of them.
Most of them.
Deutsche Telekom, just prove me wrong, but
yeah, the Army,
many.
Microsoft Azure, AWS. So anyway, and this is a long way to go here, but
it's absolutely amazing. Whenever I'm always impressed whenever I see things like this, because that means that all those software vendors, like there was Azure, I think, and AWS, and so on and so forth, that they are leveraging common project, right, instead of building it all by themselves.
Right. I mean, it sort of calls it out here just in the list. VMware, Microsoft, Weaveworks, Google, Mattermost, IBM. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. So,
because you and me have been in this industry for a long time. Like lists like this, imagine 20 years ago, what were the chances that you would see a list of companies like this collaborating on something?
Exactly. And I like this sentence here. Cluster API's main goal is to make cluster lifecycle management boring. You've been talking a lot about this. Kubernetes is boring.
Not yet, but getting there.
Okay. So the subtext that I was trying to say was we shouldn't care about it.
Exactly.
So
not many people will be using this.
No.
No, correction. Not many people will know that they're using this.
Correct. It's just like here in my old iPhone, I don't know that I am using under the hood libraries that were written 30 years ago. But I am.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's moving on. We talked last week about the Cloudflare R2 Twitter thread that Corey Quinn did. And this is basically just a write-up of his Twitter thread. Good repurposing of content, Corey. Very good job. But then it's at least all documented here. It's a little bit easier to follow than the Twitter thread was. And he goes into some more detail and adds in a different one. It was sort of like he goes through all the typical scenarios that he went through in that thread. And then he gets down to this one was interesting, I thought. Was a 1 terabyte object with S3 proxy. So Cloudflare with S3 proxy was $128, or first month was $127, and then $27.50 after that. But this last one was the funniest, which was the scary one. A wildly viral or terribly misconfigured 1 gig object. So if you're all on AWS, it was going to be 54,000. Cloudflare, it was going to be 12 cents.
But there is also background story, or not story, but importance of this. This announcement made huge waves in VC world and is going to be very helpful for many software companies, because what they just did with R2 is proved that you can challenge the big three. Big three meaning Azure, Google, and AWS. That there is a lot of space still to challenge cloud, dominant players in the cloud market, and that it is worthwhile investing in those challengers. This changed a lot the dynamic of how VCs are functioning and what they're investing in and so on and so forth.
Yep. So, again, I'm waiting for this to come out because I have use cases. There was a project that I did 5 years ago that I actually just finished decommissioning. It wasn't active, but I just finished like tearing out all the old stuff because the bandwidth charges were going to just completely decimate any kind of money I would have made off of it. This changes things completely. So,
Yep.
I'm ready. Before we get into, is this the last one? No, I want to do 2 more. I want you to answer Maz's question here before we get into the thing.
Badly. The proof of how badly I'm managing my time is the recording that Darin mentioned at the beginning of this stream, when I appeared 45 minutes late because I decided to have 15 minutes nap because I couldn't be awake anymore. And then that 15 minutes nap turned up into an hour and I was 45 minutes late. I don't know. I don't sleep much, I guess.
You don't sleep much. That's what it boils down to. You don't sleep much.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, I have a complicated rhythm. But also, what is important, I think that I do work a lot. I don't sleep much and stuff like that. But also, I was fortunate that for quite a few years now, I work in companies who are very supportive of those things. Meaning that I can organize my own. I still need to do the things I do for the company I work for and that pays the bills and stuff like that, but in a very flexible way, right?
Yep. Okay. That seems to be recurring. You need to do a blog post about that in all your spare time.
How I don't sleep?
How you get so much, the appearance of how you get so much stuff done.
If I find time to do it, I'll do it. That means that you won't see it anytime soon.
Yeah. Cartographer. So on Monday, there is a day 0, day -1 that is going to be the supply chain security conference or whatever it is. It's out at KubeCon. And this is not directly associated with it, but this is in that same space of supply chain. Supply chain, DevSecOps used to be the big thing, but now supply chain is bigger than DevSecOps, in my opinion, even though it's a implementation detail of it. What do you think?
It's I'm still not sure what will come out of all those. There is something into it, and we're definitely going to be moving in those directions. But for now, I'm still not able to distinguish smoke from real in that area.
It's too early to know.
Exactly.
But they've got an example here of source to Knative service. That sounds right up your alley.
Oh yeah.
So, and this is what's interesting here. I didn't really call it out. This is coming from Tanzu.
They're simply VMware is buying or making really awesome stuff.
Yep. Oh, look, this example. There's your friend.
Let me see my friend. Where is my friend?
It's kind.
Yeah. Yeah, but then Carvel. Yeah, YTT. I it never grew on me.
This is an example. This is just an example. It's fine. But there's a cluster supply chain object. So, in all your spare time, there's just something else to do. So anyway, Cartographer would be another thing. Vladislav's sort of adding in. You get up at... He doesn't get up at 2. I get up close to 2.
I do get up around.
You get up.
2.
You get off the couch and go get dinner.
No, I get there earlier. I wake up long before 2. I wake up at noon.
At noon, right. He's thinking 2 a.m. Reads 3 books, meditates until 6, jogs 76 clicks, and then drinks a coffee and starts working. That's pretty funny. I agree. Software supply chain is part of DevSecOps. It's just I said it incorrectly. It's not an implementation detail, but it's a child, if you will, a big chunk of it. So, anyway, Cartographer. And I'm trying to figure out where it's... So this is what I'm saying. This is why we've created an open source Cartographer, a tightly scoped tool that can choreograph events within the Kubernetes ecosystem. Again, I'm the old guy here. Not everything is Kubernetes. It's just not. I know a lot of it is, and more of it's going day to day. But not everything is.
Definitely. I think that vast majority is not. Vast majority is not. But the focus of the new projects is Kubernetes.
Yes. But if all the new projects focus only on I'll define it as a deploy target, is Kubernetes only, you're missing the boat. I'm sorry.
Let me put it this way, right? Most of the new development always focuses on new tendencies, right? Just like most of new development was focusing on cloud, and before that on VMs, right, and so on and so forth. So that will change. It will stop being focused on Kubernetes, but because something else will come up as a new thing. I mean, software vendors want to focus on shiny, right?
I'm going to drink my water.
Me
now.
included.
I'm going to drink my water now. Yeah, it is. It's true. Okay. Anyway, Cartographer, and then there was one more tool that I wanted to talk about that just came in like around the bottom of the hour, like almost an hour ago. This is Parka. It's Prometheus. This is always funny, right? It's Uber, but for fill in the blank. So this is Prometheus, but for profiles.
Loki was the first one who did that, I think. He said Prometheus for logs.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a continuous profiling storage query engine and eBPF-based profiler. I know you haven't dug into eBPF yet. I still can't explain it well enough, so I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah.
But bottom line is they go through all this cool stuff. Oh, by the way, they got funding, 4 million seed round from GV and Lightspeed. Now, anytime you see those two names pop up in a funding round, you need to pay attention. Those are, you just have to watch that. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, what it is gives you the ability, you get these cool, it's not called flame graphs. So you can track what's going on here and optimizing interactions. And they had a picture here to where here was what was happening before, and now here's what's happening after. So the flame graph isn't as flamey, I guess.
It's extremely useful for extremely niche a group of people, right?
To me, this is when you're getting into optimizations. This isn't day one release for most people.
Oh yeah, exactly.
This is day 365 or day 180 type stuff. But they're going to be talking about it at a bunch of places all next week at KubeCon.
Nice, really nice.
So, and the one probably, they're going to be talking about it just in State of Unions and all this other stuff, but I think it's going to be this bottom one by Frederick, who actually wrote, whose name's on this post. Beyond the Hype, Cloud Native eBPF. So, the upside of you not going to LA is you're not going to have jet lag.
I really wanted to go to LA.
I know.
It's too much fuss.
Yep. Okay, so I saw this project. It's not really a project, even though it is a project. Fixing infrastructure as code security issues with just a click. Currently, it's free. It's in beta. Even better, you have the Shades guide, no credit card required, right? So this is meant for Terraform. And this scans your Terraform files and then tells you, so big red underscores, and then gives you, hey, here's what you need to do. And you can PR it and off you go. And they actually have a project that's completely busted. And you can run it through the process to see what it does.
It's really nice, really cool.
Wait, did I miss that? Oh, okay.
I would did my only kind of like tiny thing. Since I'm writing Terraform in Visual Studio Code, if you could make it a plugin, big plus.
Let's see here. So currently AWS, Google Cloud, Terraform using AWS or GCP. So it's Terraform based at this point. You got to launch somewhere. And it's powered by a rules engine. Gee, go figure. Another use of guardrails today. And there's the rule.
Nice.
That feels, it's not Rego, but it feels very Rego.
Yeah, it feels very Rego. It's kind of, makes you wonder why YAML then.
Well, yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Okay. Small team. Tokyo. They're in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So there you go. Developer startup. So this is called Shisho. Oh boy. I'm so sorry if I messed that up. I think I got it close. Okay. Okay, I've got two sets of projects from two different companies. The first two are going to be a little more normal. The last two are strange and out there. Just fair warning. Fair warning.
I like it already.
So the first two are from Cube Shop, which I just heard about this week, or maybe I'd heard about them before. Have you heard of Cube Shop before?
Nope.
Okay. So they released Monokle, and it looks like it's been out for a while, but they released 1.2. This is the reason why it popped up, is it came through one of my feeds. and quickly get a high level of your manifest, their contained resources and relationships, edit resources, blah, blah, blah. Now, whether that's a live connection, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. And let me see. Obviously, it's an Electron-based app. Sad face. But that's okay. Where is the... Here, let me just go back over to the introductory blog post, because I did not get a chance to go through it like I should have. And this was in August. So Monokle, give me a real picture here. Oh, I don't want to play the video because we'll get in trouble. But anyway, it's about making life easier for developers building for and deploying to Kubernetes. So Monokle, Kube Shop, whatever it means.
I'm very intrigued now. I need to try it.
If you look at this, again, we know it's an Electron app, so it's not surprising it looks roughly like VS Code. But I don't know. A manifest IDE. Okay, here's where we go. All right, tools for inspecting, but integrating, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. All right, I'll go to that. So that was the first one, Monocle. Now the second item, which I think is even more interesting, and it's called Kusk. Kusk. And what it is it treats your open source API or open API or Swagger definition as a source of truth for generating supplementary Kubernetes resources for your REST APIs for blah, 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 blah. And again, another introductory post.
Thank you. Last time I worked with Swagger to define API that will ultimately be Kubernetes resource was so painful.
It's a binary. Let's see what it supports: Ambassador, Linkerd, Nginx Ingress, and Traffic, or at least Traffic 2. That's a big list, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very reasonable list.
Exactly.
So that's there. So this is the one that's a little more interesting to me. The others is fine, but until I get my hands on it, I won't know exactly. But this, just from reading, this one seemed more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that is Kusk. Now, fair warning, these next two have nothing to do with real development. Are you ready?
Unreal development.
Well, you don't do real development anyway, neither do I. Lorelai. Do you know who this is that's on the picture?
On a picture, no.
No. Okay. So this is the actress Lauren Graham. Lorelai was her character name in Gilmore Girls. Not that I know anything about Gilmore Girls, except that I have a daughter that watched every season 3 or 4 times. Not me, but my daughter. So anyway, what is Lorelai? It's a command line tool to generate lorem ipsum. That's always a pain, right? When you need to generate filler words, now I can make it. I can now generate lorem ipsum as part of my continuous integration pipeline.
No more Googling for online lorem ipsum generator.
Yep. You can generate, it's actually pretty powerful. You can generate words, sentences, paragraphs. I lost it. There it is. Then some extra lorem words, domains. I have some ideas for this. URLs and emails. I can think of lots of fun ways to use this.
That's actually cool. I thought it's
actually
literally just lorem ipsum, but it can generate the stuff that you typically very much need for testing and then fill it in between with lorem ipsum. That sounds really good. Sounds actually really cool. Cooler than it sounds at the beginning of.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And you can even size it up to where I want a paragraph and it gives 45 words. A sentence returns 8 words. A word returns 1 word, right? So you can sort of size things in a certain way. I think you can pass in. I didn't load it up yet to try it out myself, but yeah, you can. You can give it a number and it'll tell you so the numbers at the top were just the defaults. Again, not for development, but maybe it could be. Now,
great for testing.
Great for testing. Now, so you found some possible uses for this.
Mm-hmm.
that I hadn't really thought about, and I'm glad you have a half a brain to think right now. This next one, on the other hand, Chigo. And what this does for you, crazily enough, is it concatenates files or standard input to standard output. When no file is passed, read standard input. So the example is Chigo, F1, F2, output F1, F2 to contents. What happens here is you say fortune, Calzi, and then Chigo. And so it's putting these two things together.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm completely confused. Now, the half of the brain that worked for the previous one stopped.
So what it's doing is it's doing inline concatenation of files and or standard input. I wish they had shown a better real life example. Huh?
Is it cut then?
It's
CAT command.
It's
no,
well,
echo.
It would be, well, you could do echo and you could do and pipe it and then pipe cat and then run Chigo, and both of them should come together.
Yeah.
So, and yes,
I cannot complain that I don't have time. Like when Moz asked me how do I find time, and how do they find time?
Time, yeah. They must be getting paid for it. Now, Jivan, I think that there was an NFT of that cat pick recently that went for crazy, crazy money. So I haven't downloaded either of these. These are both fairly new. In fact, this one, latest release was just 22 hours ago. So I'm interested in just sort of like lolcat, but with more rainbows and unicorns. Is that what they said over here too? I want to check it. No, packaged command line alarmism. So I don't really understand. Maybe it generates. No, I don't have time to download it.
It's colored output.
Yeah, it is. It did. So fortune is what this is. Death is a spirit. Wait, blah blah blah. So that's that. And then Calce. So here's fortune generated the text. Calce does that, and then Chigo puts them together. I don't know. But maybe. All right. So let's live on Jivadan's timeline here. Is this a way now that we can generate NFTs? Moving on. Moving on is CodeZero Teleport. Was your video for this week. And I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry.
Shame on you. Kidding. No, it's a nifty little tool that allows us to intercept and teleport into services. Kind of, and what is to me kind of the interesting use case is the intercept, right? Teleport, that's kind of easy. You know, you're developing something and you want that something to send requests to something else running somewhere else in some other cluster, right? That's so easy and obvious. But what they call intercept, the other direction, is so cool that you have something running in a cluster. Let's say you have a front end running in a cluster, and then you have a back end developing locally. And then the direction is opposite all of a sudden, right? You need to configure your remote application service, whatever it is, to actually redirect all the requests to local instead of wherever they would normally go. So imagine developing frontend, you have the backend, you have frontend running, you need to tell frontend, hey, forward those requests to my laptop. Very nice.
Right. So that was CodeZero. And then yesterday, we had a stream on your channel, on the DevOps Toolkit channel, about GitOps and a few other things, but primarily GitOps. For everybody that was with us live yesterday, thanks for being there live. The link to this is also going to be in the show notes for today. I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed those sessions. We should continue.
Yep. The next one is currently scheduled-ish for 2 weeks from yesterday, so 13 days from now, roughly.
Exactly.
I mean, nothing was going to get scheduled for next week anyway. Next week is KubeCon. I mean,
don't talk about it.
I know. So that was that's next week. So how many sessions did you say you have?
7 maybe.
Were they pre-recorded or are they live?
Live. Ask me how many do it. Yeah. Ask how many are prepared so far.
How many have you prepared so far, Victor? 3. That's great.
Okay, I don't know how to. 0.
Big 0.
It will be a lot of winging.
Do I need to have Amazon send you some extra Red Bull and Coke?
I have those.
Okay.
I started buying in bulk. Now I buy like kind of I don't know, like
The 24s.
10 4-can packages and.
So what size are your cans? Are they 355? Is that what they are?
They're like.
This is 12 ounces, but 355 milliliters. Oh, so you're the tall ones. Okay.
No, this is not the one, but I think smaller. So smaller.
Yeah, the stubbies.
Quarter,
They're like
quarter of a liter.
Yeah.
Whatever that translates to.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Wow. Okay. So I'm not going to complain. My week was a little tough. I taught 2 classes this week, and I hadn't taught full 8-hour courses in a year and a half. My voice was gone. I'm just now getting it back.
I haven't done that for a while, but I remember when I was doing that 8 hours class. After that, every time I'd go and pass out, literally.
Yeah,
there is nothing more exhausting than that. It doesn't sound like that. Kind of, you're chatting for 8 hours, but man,
it was. I knew it was hard going into it. I mean, at least I wasn't surprised. But it was. What was different is I actually wasn't in here in the studio. I was in my office, so I was able to sit down and have more monitors, and so at least that part was easier. But it was still 8 hours on Zoom. I mean, not 8 straight hours, but it was 8 hours. But anyway, that's done. So now I get to write content for next week. So who's not going to KubeCon? Now, I did see KubeCon cost like $bucks, even for virtual. That's sort of different, but not really.
bucks like a lot, you mean?
Like big money. No, it's not huge money.
Okay.
Like
I don't
remember what it was, but like to get a virtual ticket for Monday's supply chain conference was $20 US. It's not horrible.
Oh yeah, that's kind of day 0
Yeah.
sessions. Basically, whomever organizes it sets its own price.
Yeah.
That's usually cheap.
Okay.
And the real ticket, I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I haven't bought my conference ticket for a long time.
Oh, that's true. I always did, I think, except for the ones that I actually worked. So I need to learn from you, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. I'm mashing up Galaxy Quest and Star Wars all in the same sentence, and that's just not a good thing. You've watched Galaxy Quest before, right? Wait, are you
Galaxy
double
Quest?
fisting?
You're talking about the comedy that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim
yeah,
Allen, Sigourney Weaver. By the way, I saw
Fantastic.
today. Okay, do you want to? Here's how you feel old. Today is Sigourney Weaver's birthday. She's 72. Ripley
She
from
was
Alien
young when I was young.
is 72. I also saw that Paul Hogan was 82 today as well. I think Chevy Chase was 78 or something. Somewhere in my body, I'm still thinking I'm 21, but I'm not.
And there are quite a few generations who probably don't know who she is.
Have no clue. Yeah, there's probably people watching us right now have no clue anything. So I'm trying to remember what other like cool movies she was in the original Ghostbusters too. But again, people don't understand the original Ghostbusters. Different conversation for a different decade.
And they shouldn't. Ghostbusters is one of the many, many movies from before that does not age well.
Why do you say that?
I mean, I saw it maybe a year ago and I started watching it. Kind of like, nah, this looks bad. It's not really good anymore. just like ET or,
I don't know. So this is actually a good question. Would you pay for content that ends up on YouTube? Yes. I pay for it all the time. What about you, Victor?
Yes.
Because here's the reason why. They did say on that supply chain one, they're going to be posting it on YouTube. They're very upfront about it, but it's going to be late November. And sometimes content, I'm worth paying $20. I'll give up going to Chick-fil-A or McDonald's for a couple days to have that information.
At the end of the day, you're always paying for content. The question is whether you're paying for content by paying directly, or you're paying indirectly, like by watching ads, for example. Right? That's paying for the content as well.
Yep. By the way, go over to Victor's channel and go watch the ads. Thank you for reminding us about that. It helps. Every little bit helps. At some point, now we're getting close in hours to where we're almost at 1,000 users or 1,000 subscribers, almost. But we're only about halfway on the watch hours in order to be able to turn on all the cool stuff. So we still have a couple, like 2,000 hours that we still have to have people watch.
To watch more.
Yeah, but our content's different than your content. So ours is more news and just shooting the breeze versus yours is highly technical. So that's fine. That's what it's there for. We're almost at the top of the hour, and you have 7 items to write before. When's your first one due? Or when do you do your first one?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I have Monday, Tuesday to work on it. Today I still have. Today I have a recording for some conference that is happening 3 weeks from now, but they are insisting that needs to be done now. Silly people.
How long are your sessions for KubeCon? Do you know?
I know nothing. I know that I'm snoozing emails that I got kind of tomorrow. I don't even know the titles. I don't know. It's something. And it lasts for a certain period of time, and it's happening on a certain day. That's what I know.
I am glad I'm not having to handle you right now. Man, you'd be stressing me out.
It always ends up fine.
It does. This is not rocket science nor brain surgery.
Exactly.
So that's fine. All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and wrap up for today so you can at least go have a soda or something. And actually, well, you've already got 2, so you don't need another soda yet. You probably need food on top of all the soda you're drinking.
Oh, no.
Or maybe some antacid to take care of all the stuff.
2 more. So here's the plan for today. 2 more meetings. 2 more hours in meetings.
Yep.
Food.
Yep.
1 hour of Assassin's Creed, and then I work.
Assassin's Creed on what platform?
Stadia. Yeah, that's the plan for today.
Okay. Well, there's a plan. So let me get out of your way so you can go do those things. So thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Vladislav, thanks. Vladislav always brings it in. Have a great weekend. That's the great way to say it. Have a great weekend, people. We will talk to you again next week, unless something goes sideways for Victor, which I don't expect. Do you have sessions to do on Friday? Do you know?
What, this Friday?
Of course, no, next Friday.
Man.
We'll figure it out.
Did I ever know what I need to do more than a day in advance?
Okay. Let's just go with that. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you again next week.